Hello and welcome to Channel Sport on Sunday. I'm Ken Ochonogo. It boils down to the last four, all past winners. So there won't be any addition to the club the eight countries that has won the FIFA World Cup since its inception in 1930. You remember Uruguay hosted and won as host, and that was the beginning. In 34, Italy hosted and won, and then Italy went to France and defended it in 38. There was none in 42, there was none in 46. Then, because of the Second World War, in 1950, Brazil hosted, the first host to lose. No, the second, because France has already lost, in 38. So Brazil hosted and lost. A tragic event to them. They still feel it today, like we told you here, that they had to change the jersey that they used, and since then they've never used it again. That was in 1950. Uruguayans, who hosted the inaugural edition, to our 20 years earlier, 1930, won that particular edition of the World Cup, and that is twice. Since then, they've not won it again. So you can see that between 1930 and 1950, they had four editions of the World Cup, and those four editions were won by Uruguay and Italy, because Uruguay won the first and 1930 and 1950, while the Italians won back to back. In fact, the first team to retain the World Cup, with the only manager to win the World Cup back to back. You understand? And so every other ones have been coming in. Of course, we'll talk about Mauro Zagallo later. That one is something, push in. But today, this is day 24. 24 days have been, you just look at it. We started which day? June the 11th, and here we are with 7 days to go. It is 24 down, 7 days, before we play the final. I think last week I was saying the final was not supposed to be so I don't know what was happening then. It was supposed to be 14 days. I was looking at 12 days, but actually it is a Sunday that the final will be played, and that Sunday is July the 19th, 12 days, 7 days from now. So just get yourself up, because like I was, bringing you from at inception, when 1950, 1954, of course the Swiss were the host, and the Germans said it was West Germany. It wasn't Germany per se, because then there is this. They've been after the World War, they've had the East Germany and West Germany. In fact, there's a World Cup where I think in 1974, where both of them, actually met. In that particular World Cup. But as in 1954, it was the Germans that had won, and given the Europeans two, and then the South Americans won. And then, Sweden, it was back to back, because in 58, Sweden hosted. And Brazil, traveled across the Atlantic when they went to Europe. And the young Pelé, 17-year-old, stunned the world, when they won that final. So Brazil, level is 12. And then you move from 1958 to 1962, Chile. Chile is one of those mountainous, high altitude nations, and they hosted then. And Brazil also did what Italy did to win it back to back, and that was 1958 and 1962. In 66, football came home, just like they say. It hasn't been coming home. Remember, in 1996, football came home, but then it didn't come the way it came in 1966. But in 66, it was the English who won at home, at host again. That is, the next host to win it after Italy, has won it. So you can imagine moving down, to the minors then. Of course, there are superpowers then and not the superpowers then, because the Hungarians were a very, very good team as a then. When you have great players, the Pushkas of this world, you get, what you get done. So in 62, the Brazilians retained the trophy. Then in 66, England won it. And then from 66, it is in 1970 where, they say that is the greatest assemblage of 11 players, of course, because 11 started, but they said that squad, that team has been the best that the world has seen. That was, the Jorginho, of course, Mario Zagallo now, who has won it in 58 and 62 as a player, now has the responsibility to tutor the Brazil, tutor Pelé and co, and Jorginho and Tostao. A lot of them did the world a great. I mean, it was fun and beating Italy in that particular final. So you can see Brazil winning in 1970. In 74, of course, the Germans, they were the host. And then they played the Dutch, the apostle of total football. But it was Beckenbauer, on one side, Franz Beckenbauer, the Kaiser leading them, and they met the Dutch. The Dutch, now played back-to-back final, because in 74, then in 78 in Argentina, they played the host in the final in 74. They played the host again in final in 78, 4 years later, and they lost both. I mean, they have that record. We'll come to the record. So they lost both. They lost in 74 and they lost in 78. It wasn't too sweet for them. And then coming to 82, and of course, in 82, it was the year of Paulo Rossi, Espana 82. Paulo Rossi, who was banned. As some people say, he went to jail. I think he was banned. No, he didn't go to jail. He was banned from football, but recalled before the World Cup. And Brazil just needed, Brazil being Brazil, people say that is the best Brazilian team not to have won the World Cup, with Socrates and Zico and Ramos. And that is how Brazil, lost to Italy, and then Italians went on to the final and then won that one. So you mean right now, because they've won back-to-back before, they now that is their third victory. Brazil has 3, and then Italy has 3, and that was in 86. It was the year of the hand of God, the Lilliputian, the man that is high. They say, I mean, Maradona, Messi, Pelé, they are all 5'6", 5'7", and then the highest, I think Pelé is the tallest at 5'7". Messi is the same thing at that ground. The center of gravity is up there. They move with the ball and you can't take it off their feet. So basically that was what happened. And he had jumped Peter Shelton. How did you do that with your head? No matter how, she hit his hand, but he scored that goal. But after that, against England, that one we're coming to that, against England, he scored that goal that they called the hand of God. But the British said, no, it is not the hand of God. God wouldn't make you do negative things, to make you cheat, that you are a cheat. And I remember he was denied visa into the United Kingdom, based on things like that. So that was in 1980, in 1990, it was Italian 90, and then of course Lothar Matthäus and the German machine, who will forget that their beautiful design in the jersey that they won. They stunned the world, and won, of course, like we said, they've already won twice, so that was also their third victory, winning in 74 and then coming to win right there in 1990. Then in 94, the Brazilians came to USA. US were the host. They were not a footballing nation, but then they said, look, let us do this. They've been trying all they can to popularize the game of soccer in the United States. And then it was also the year Nigeria debuted at the World Cup, our first ever. We've been coming close. We came close in 78, we came close in 82, we came close in 86, and then in 1990, you can imagine, sometimes we're going to bring back the chukus of this world to say, look, let us what we can do. But it wasn't until 1994 that we made our first appearance at the World Cup, and that was it. Beating Bulgaria by 3-0. So we beat that, but it was a game has to do with Romario. Romario was then playing with Barcelona, and then he just scored a great Barcelona team. But but they were so good, but they were beaten 4-0 in the Champions League final by AC Milan. Unthinkable, because it was the defending team, the team with the best defense, defeating the team with the best attack by 4-0. And Don Zubizarreta, remember, I will come to it then later on, but that was it. So in 1990, that was what happened in 1990, it was the Brazilians playing the Italians again in the final. Remember that was the final in 1970, in Mexico, and here they are again doing that in the US of A. So the Brazilians took that and stunned the world. So they won their fourth. They won it. They won it in Europe. They're now the first time they are won. Of course, they won it in America and South America. They now won it also in Central America. So in 1998, it was France 98, and France became the 7th nation to win the World Cup. I've not been counting it, but I know that they became the 7th nation. I look at it and say, look, Nigeria in 1994 were good enough to win the World Cup. That team was good enough because we narrowly lost to Italy. The Italians played in the final, and the Brazilians couldn't beat them. So I forget it. It's not 1-1. It's not always it. I saw it as, look, Nigeria could have won that World Cup in 1994. It is just the people say it's inexperience. I don't think so. It happens. Even the most experienced, because the Germans lost to the Bulgarians that Nigeria beat to get to the semi-final. The Bulgarians got to the last 4. A team we beat 3-0, in our opening match, in our first ever baptism as a nation at the World Cup. So we are now right there in 1998. France won that final against the Brazilians. Remember, Ronaldo de Lima, coming out with that, being sick, and people say he was not going to play. But Zagallo, who has been the assistant to Carlos Alberto Pereira in 1994, was now handed over the team again to tinker, nostalgia, give us that thing. They played to the final, but they couldn't win it. France won their first World Cup. But then you remember Brazil has played 94, 98. In 2002, they played to the final. And I tell you, this is one start that startled the world, because they played to the final in 2002 in Korea, Japan. And that was the first time both the Germans and the Brazilians were meeting. Very first time in the World Cup. How? These guys have won the World Cup 4 times, and they are meeting they are meeting for the very first time. But then it has to be Ronaldo without his hair. He just kept on. I don't know what this mohawk or what they call the hair. Just crept everywhere. Left some hair. Pam, pam, pam. And then Oliver Kahn had no answer to that. So it was in 2002. Who were there? Korea, Japan, 2002. That Brazil won it. 2006, it was in Germany. It was in Germany. It was the year of Zinedine Zidane and Materazzi. So of course who won, because the Italians won that particular. The French won. That particular, because Zidane was sent off. Zidane was sent off, and the French couldn't do it. So they said, look, that is what cost them the World Cup. So you're moving from that particular edition in 2006 to 2010, and it was the first time the African nation was hosting South Africa. Of course, they call them the nearly men. They've always been calling them the nearly men. But no, it wasn't to be. That year they did it. Iniesta triumphed, and that was it. Of course, we know everybody know about the Ghana Uruguay game, this quarterfinals. Africa would have got her first ever semi-finalist, but then it was not to be, because Suarez went there and turned himself to a goalkeeper. He got a red card. Asamoah missed the penalty. Africa missed that chance to make the semi-finals, and then that was it. But they lost in the semi-final themselves, Uruguay. Of course, they've not won it since 1950 after in Brazil. So basically, that is how that particular World Cup came in, and Spain got their one, number 8. Those 8 nations, since 2010, no new country has joined. No new nation has won it. So among the 4 here, you are going to see them. So 2010 to 2014, it was in Brazil, and for the first time, a European nation traveled, crossed the Atlantic, bam! And Germany said, we're going to do it. They did it by, I don't want to use the word humiliating, but that was, they humbled the Brazilians in the absence of Neymar, who was injured. And then, so in 2014, who do you say won it? Yes, it is Germany. 2018, we went over there, and then it was time for France to say, here we are, we can also do it. And then the French won it again for the second time, and then they started that journey. Because in 2022, they also went to the finals, you understand, but this time they lost, to the Argentines. You have Messi. That was, the French now, this time around, are trying to do what the Brazilians did. Play 3 finals in a row. No country has done it. They played in 94, 98, 2002. They won 2, they lost 1. Now, the French have now played in 2018, 2022. They won 1, they lost 1. Are they going to replicate exactly the feat of the Brazilians? You know, that is the question now. So it was the Argentines, and the Argentines are now the defending champions. And let us see if they can retain that. So they moved from Passarella, then the Passarella in 1978, to Maradona in 1986, and to Maradona, you understand, in 2022. So basically, that is the history. I've given you that from beginning to the end of the World Cup. You can add on when the guys come in, we shall see. But let's look at this World Cup as it is. We have the four. Let us start with the four semi-finalists. On Tuesday, Wednesday, you're going to see that. So there's going to be that battle of Argentina taking on England. I just told you of what happened in 86. In 66, they also met when England won. Okay, so those are the results of the quarterfinalists. France, are beating Morocco, the last African team standing, by 2-0, and then Spain. Controversy. In almost all the games there was controversy, and then Spain defeated Belgium, by 2-1. So that tells you France and Spain will be fighting it out to see one of them will go into the final. So the other semi-finalists are the we just witnessed them over some hours back. But this what you are seeing here means that an African team, almost Morocco, they were in the semi-finals. I think I didn't mention that they were in the semi-finals in 2022, the first African country to do so. And in doing that, they defeated Spain and and Portugal. It was the French that sent them off in the semi-finals. The same French team have not sent them home in the quarterfinals. That seems to be their boogie team. And Spain, like France has two World Cups in their kitty. They have 1998 and then 2018. So and the Spaniards got it in 2010. Can they make a second, or will France join the Argentine, who are on 3? So let's see the other results. Let's see the other results. Okay, that is the other quarterfinal results that we are having there. So Argentina. Okay, all right. That is it. The Norwegian losing 1-2 to England. They were losing 1-2 to England. That is one of the results. And then, like we say, the Argentines beating it is 3-1, and then it is something people are saying. Wait, what really happened? What really happened? Switzerland, came into that game, played well, and then Mbolo got that particular red card, and people are saying, okay. Well, if that red card was not there, probably it would have been more difficult for the Argentines. But the result is the result. They got it, and then so the first semi-final will be coming up: France versus Spain. Like I said, France has 2 World Cup in their kitty. Spain has 1. That will be on Tuesday, and on Wednesday it will be England. England has 1. Argentina has 3. So if you watch those 4 teams, Argentina has 3, France have 2, while Spain and England has 1-1. But England has not won it for 60 years. They hosted in 1966. They won it. So since then, they've not won it. The Argentines won it 4 years ago. The Spaniards in 2010 to 2026, 16 years ago was the last time they won it. France won it 8 years ago. That is in 2018. So you have 8 years, you have 16 years, you have 60 years, and then you have maybe the defending champions. The week at 0 4 years ago is just it's just one edition. So basically, those are the teams. No new addition. Morocco couldn't go. Egypt, of course, are getting out of the group for the very first time. Like we say, Egypt were actually the first African team to go to the World Cup. That was in 1934 when they were invited, and then Morocco were the first to qualify in 1970. All right, those are the goals. Of course, the Golden Boot. The race is on. 8-8. If you check them, Jude just joined them because coming into this, it has to be Kylian Mbappe, Lionel Messi, Erling Haaland, and then Harry Kane. Of all of them, it was only Mbappe that scored in the quarterfinal. The rest didn't score. But then somewhere Jude squeezed himself in with that brace that he scored yesterday, late yesterday night, and then that was just 8. So here we are, moving 8 goals, and that takes then that both of them are the top scorer for all time. Going into this World Cup, it was Miroslav Klose with 16, but right now we are having 20 goals. In fact, Kylian Mbappe has played 20 Kylian Mbappe has played 20 games, and in those 20 games, he has been able to. In those 20 games, he has scored. That is, for every game he has played at the World Cup, he has been able to score a goal. He's averaging a goal. He is averaging a goal per match in this. All right, we want to see how it is going to happen. Because we want to see how much they are making. I want to see how much they are making. Of course, Morocco has they've made much more than every other country at the World Cup. But let us see. I want to actually take a very, very, very short break. I want to take a short break, and when we come back, we shall open the lines for you. Tell us the thing that's impressed you most at the World Cup, and then every other thing you want to talk about. There are other things we want to talk about. The tennis world, because it's at Wimbledon. We'll have a new Wimbledon champion today. It will be Zverev taking on Sinner, back-to-back Grand Slam finals for Zverev. Both of them have gone 13. In fact, Sinner is on 13 games unbeaten. Zverev is on 13 Grand Slam games unbeaten, because coming from French Open, they call it, the Canada champion. Few tennis players have won the French Open, transiting from clay to grass in the same year. Also, the WAFCON is about to kick off. We got 10. Are we going to add more? And then it is El Kanemi. I don't know what happened in Kurudu City. They were almost on the continent. They lost their last game to Rangers. Rangers emerged champion. Here they are again. They had opponent to play in the finals of the FA Cup. They lost 1-0 to El Kanemi. So that means El Kanemi will join Shooting Stars as our CAF Confederation Cup representative, while the two Rivers United and Rangers will go to the Champions League. We'll go on a short break. When we come back, the lines will be open. You'll be part of this show. Stay with us. Okay, you're welcome back. It is the Channel Sport on Sunday, and then we'll be going through with 7 days to go. I remember we don't sing that song during the Christmas period. Right now it is 7 days to the final. So it is not the days to Christmas now. It is how many days to the final. And that is exactly what we'll do. But that is the prize money. Everything has to do is just about the money. The Moroccans are going home with about $19 million. And then the Egyptians are going home with $15 million, because they go to the round of 16. And then so that is when you add this one. We've not added the monies that they got, from participation and other things. So for these other countries, Cape Verde has 11 million. These are one of, Egypt and Morocco are the semi-final, a round of 16 and quarterfinals. But this is the round of 32. You have Cape Verde 11 million, Senegal 11 million. All these ones are round of 32. Because we sent 10 teams, so 2 of them, are Morocco and Egypt. Then you now have another 7 to make it, because it was only Tunisia that didn't make the round of 32 that went out. So all other teams got, Ghana, Algeria, and then it was group stage, because Tunisia that, left at that level, and that is what, they got. But remember that, in coming to this, every team had, were given that, 12.5, 10 million and then 2.5 million for preparation. And then when they got to the World Cup, they now added this for being there. So it means that, We missed out. Nigeria missed out. I don't know. There is something we want to say about it. We missed out. We missed out on the glory. We missed out on the shine. We missed out for our players to be, go over the way and display their talent. We missed out, yeah, you just saw the money. We need the money. Forget it. We need the money for sports development, for our schools, school sports, our school football, our stadium management. A lot of things. We need the money. Everybody needs the money. So you see the Moroccans with all the infrastructure they have, they still make more money. You see the Egyptians with the infrastructure, they still make more money. And then but the Cape Verdeans, impressed me most, at this particular work. When we are, like I said, we open the lines, and then you guys should tell us which team impressed you most, which player. I believe Vozinha should be among players that were nominated for the player of the tournament, by virtue of his performance. Somebody that they say he has a social media follower for less than 50,000, and before now he's over 20-something, almost 30 million followers that he has there. Erling Haaland just celebrated his 60 million followers on social media. It is the age of social media. When you know how many persons listen to you, how many persons watch your show, how many persons say, okay, you have given us value so that we can follow you consistently. And that is what it is. And the guy he blew in there by his performance, a goalkeeper, not his idea. Football is a game of strikers. Probably you can count how many players who has won the Ballon d'Or, maybe Cannavaro, and which you can count them, who has no, out there, out strikers or midfielders, those who shine, not those who shield, not those are the foundation. It is those at the head, atop the edifice. Those are the persons that you see they score the goal and they made it shine. We say Mbappe scoring in, how many games in a row, Messi scoring in eight goals, consecutive World Cup goals, Mbappe scoring in 20 goals. We have all this start, but then the saves that Vozinha is making, how many of us can have it? Even myself here, we don't have that. So that is the thing. So we want to ask you, which of the teams has impressed you most? I think to me, two teams captured my imagination at this World Cup. One is Cape Verde, and the other one is Norway. Row. You can't take it from those two teams, the Cape Verdeans and the Cape Verde, how do I say it? The interest of every football lover in the whole world. Like I said, somebody said before the World Cup, I think it was Piers Morgan, said before the World Cup, he didn't know where Cape Verde is, but after this World Cup, he will never forget. That there are they've created that impression, positively, that they could do that, and you can't. So we are also moving because, of course, like let's say the lines are open, we take calls and everything, but then the WAFCON is starting. We are the defending champions, and then the list is out, the team is ready, and then that is where we are. We are in Group C. We are taking on Zambia, Egypt, and Malawi. I think this, I'm sorry that if we said I don't mean, but I think this group should be. Oh, the Zambians are there, they are tough. I wanted to say it's going to be an easy group. The Zambians are not easy. They are now part of the superpowers of women football in Africa. So when you talk about Nigeria and you talk about Nigeria, Morocco, South Africa, the other India, in that regard, you must put the Zambians. They are part there. I think the four big teams there in Africa, and then you see them staying there with us right there in Group C. So all the other, like that is okay. You can see the itinerary. Our opening game will be against the Malawians, and then that will be on Tuesday, 28th of July. Then 1st of August, Nigeria will take on the Zambians. That will be the deciding team. Of course, there are surprises, but debate that it will be Nigeria, Zambia. Whoever wins that game will likely top that particular group, and then it will be Nigeria, Egypt on the 5th of August. So we open on the 28th of July, and then end the group stages right there on the 5th of August. So basically, that is WAFCON. Our team, we're ready. We've won it more than any other thing. We're the defending champion, and these are the squads. There is just, okay, Chiamaka Nadozie, comfortable, these guys, that one is, both of them are in England, one for Portsmouth and for Brighton. And then Fatima Oloko, she is the only home-based player in the entire squad. So, and she's the third rated goalkeeper. I think she has the height, she has the reflexes. I think I can see her also joining her compatriots in Europe. Why not? That is what is happening. Remember that I was saying that the league, they want to start paying them $2 million, $2 million naira minimum wage. I don't know how much they will say for the, whether it also reflects on not just the MPFL, but also in the, MPWFL. So basically, we might be seeing. And then you have Senator Hale, Mitchell Alozie, Shukurat Oladipo, Rafi Atimuram, Glory Ogbona, Oluwatosin Demi, Sikira Tuisa, and then Christy Uchebe. Those are the defenders that that are there. You can see their clubs. They are all there playing in different parts of even in Mexico, from Saudi Arabia is where Ali is. All right, and then you have your midfielders, Rashida Tajibade, that is the captain, the skipper of the team. Okay, she's in PSG. I remember her when the PSG was playing Arsenal, and she was in that private jet and telling them, "I'm supporting my boys." Halimatu Ainde, Deborah Abiodun, we have Tony Payne, and then Jennifer, Echejini. Those are your midfielders. And then, of course, the strikers. I think she is the greatest to have come out of Africa in terms of women football. Asisa Tushola, Gift Monday. Of course, she's back into the squad. I think she missed the AFCON the other time. Esther Okoronkwo, Joy Omewa, Francisca Odega. She's back into the team. Folashade, Ijamilusi, and then Morin Shola, Babajide. Then Chinwendu. Ihezwo, and then Uchenna Kano. So those are your forwards. Of course, the ones you don't see there, it was somewhere there are some talks going around that why this one is not there, but it has to be injury and fitness. So basically, that is why you see one or two players who are missing in that squad. So these are the team we are sending. That's the team we are sending right there to go and do us proud in Morocco. At a point in controversy, will Morocco host or will they not host? South Africa, are we stepping in or not? But right now, I think Mutsepe did say, calm down. It is that. But before we go to our next story, this is a sad one. One of the players who represented South Africa, at the World Cup, Jaden Adams, just passed on. He's just 25. He's just 25. He passed on in his hotel room. They said before then, 24 hours before that time, he posted a picture of himself and his girlfriend in the hotel. You understand? And then for him to, he just suddenly, later, some hours later, it was the news of his death that everybody was there. He started, the first two games of South Africa. They played Mexico, in their opening game, the host nation. And I don't know. He lost his grandmother about 2 months ago, and I think during the World Cup, and that's when he lost his grandmother. And here he is also, going on at this young age. We pray his soul rest in peace. Jaden, you've given your best. May the angels welcome you. And the way you play soccer right there in heaven. And that is it. Tragic it is, but it wasn't. They're still investigating, the cause of death because it happened so sudden. He is fit. He was fit. We've seen players also drop dead while playing. So maybe cardiac arrest. But it is aspect. We don't know what really transpired until the coroner, comes out with whatever findings. That is when the world will know. So rest in peace, Jaden Adams. Okay. The lines are still open. I know some of you say, look, Ken, you didn't open the lines. You open the lines. You guys will be part of this. I'll join the show. And then, like I did tell you earlier that El Kanemi was defeated Ikorodu City, I think against took place in Asaba yesterday, and by a goal to nil. An early goal they scored, and Ikorodu City couldn't come back. Ikorodu City, they nearly qualified to the continent last season. They did not. This season again, twice. They had opportunity. They were playing at home against Rangers. All they needed to do was not lose that game, because shooting stars were way off, playing away, and then they lost to Rangers. They lost to Rangers, and that was it. They lost to Rangers, and here they are. Maybe they will go again. Maybe they will go again and see. I don't know how that one is going to happen. But I think that is really a hard one for Ikorodu City, not. And then of course Nasarawa Amazon won on penalties after playing that is for the female, after playing a 1-1 draw with Heartland of Owerri. The Heartland Queens, not they've got this Heartland. These are the Amazons and the Queens. Are the things that we have. But then 5-1 penalties. The people say it's the luck of the draw, luck of the of the sport. But that is it. The Nasarawa has always been. I think they've also shown that they are a power. And that is it. So we'll leave that, and then we'll go straight and see if we can talk a little bit of tennis. Because yesterday it was the Czech affair. When I say check, it's not check that is written. You don't think that it was money. And there used to be Czechoslovakia. I think that they used to be that. And then the Slovaks. Now we have the Czechs. So it was a Czech affair. And then but the Czechs have always been. We've had about 5 or 6 Czechs that has won Wimbledon. So who will forget Martina Navratilova? So they've come in over the years, and this year it was Noskova who this her first. In fact, this is actually her very first final, Grand Slam final. She was taking Mutkova. Mutkova having sent home Coco Gauff, we thought she was the favorite, but when you check both of them, one is she is seated 9th, while her compatriot, who both of them are even played. They played doubles together, representing their country at the Female Davis Cup. But here they are. She picks that, and win or lose, it was a Czech affair. And then for the male today, it will be Yannick Sinner taking on Alexander Zverev. Remember Andy Murray. Andy Murray lost 4 finals before eventually he won his first U.S. Open. Same thing with Zverev. Zverev lost to Dominic Thiem almost 10 years ago. And that at U.S. Open, he lost again. He lost to I think to Djokovic and is it the Carlos Alcaraz? But he has lost 3 before he played Koboli right there in the final and won the French Open. Because when Sinner was out and then Alcaraz, was also out, we said, look, it was open. It was his best opportunity. We said, look, if he doesn't do this, then definitely it will go for him to him. He won that, and confidently that has taken him from clay court to grass court, the first court on grass, and he's playing the final, against Yannick Sinner, who defeated the 24-time winner, Novak. Some of us are sentimentally attached to Novak Djokovic, believing that yes, this man could do 25. Margaret Court, coincidentally, I just said Mutkova and Noskova played that final. That is the second time players, females from the same country, of course, apart from the Serena families, Venus and whatever, Serena and Venus playing. The first time, 2 nationals are playing in the final. The first one was Margaret. I remember because Margaret Court. She has that 24 that people cannot. I don't understand. So maybe because the court was named after her, or she was named after the court. She has 24, and every other person when they go to Serena got stalled at 23. Djokovic got to that particular 24, but has not been able to surpass it. And let's say one the maybe Sinner and Alcaraz, the way they are going, one of them might do that. Jimmy, how are you?
Yeah, Ken.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to be here. And one day you wonder whether you see 2 Nigerian, either female or male, tennis players go head to head in a Grand Slam.
Yeah, it has to be intentional. It has to be intentional. Yeah, if we want to do that, it has to be intentional. It won't be done through mistake.
Especially when you know that the top 1,000 players, we don't have any Nigerian at the moment, either male or
yeah, she was there at the we're celebrating at the juniors.
Yeah. So maybe someday you have someone of Nigerian DNA do us proud.
Someday we have someone of Nigerian DNA doing.
Yeah, I choose my words carefully.
Okay, let's take a very short time out. We'll be right back. Very short time out. All right, we'll just do that short call. That is it a short call or a short break? Guys, I welcome you. I welcome is welcome, and then Jimmy was saying probably will get a Nigerian.
Someone of Nigerian DNA.
Someone of Nigerian DNA will one day win it for us.
So regardless of if the person was born in the diaspora, born in Nigeria, whatever it is, the most important thing is let's have someone of Nigerian descent, get to that stage. We've seen Mo's son at that level. We saw at a point what Odizo was able to do, but we want more because those were not advanced stages that they got to at those points in time.
Okay, those were not advanced that they got in time. But Jimmy, like I said, we're still trying to see if we can, if we can sort out, what is happening with the lines. I know you guys are trying. I'm sorry. So let's hope we're able to sort it out, and you guys can be part of the show. Jimmy was, of course, by Sunday we're coming for the finals. It will be a total package. We're going to look at, a lot of things that are transpired, the African teams and the world teams. But let's start with, who are your pick for the finals?
France, England.
France, England. Okay. So
I expect that the semi-finals will be explosive for the two different ties. I think that the French team at this point in time, they haven't got into an extra gear. They really have not been pushed too much. And if you look at what has happened with Spain practically, they have been growing into the game, but they've also struggled. And I think that the French team will have way too much for them. For the England versus Argentina game, I think that it will be very tough also. But you've seen that, they've had to dig deep. I'm talking about Argentina now. And also due to the fact that they have got some of the, most brilliant forwards, the likes of Messi, Alvarez, Martinez, doing what they are able to do, and also a solid midfield. But when they go up against England, I think it will be more about the mentality. If they're able to strut it all out, I think they would take out the Argentines. They really have not been as impressive as they were the last competition. They've had to dig deep also like Spain, but I think it will be France-England final. Okay, France-England final. The Spaniards are also moving through unbeaten run. That game, I would have loved to even see that game in the final, France-Spain. Spain, yeah.
Yeah, France-Spain. I've seen Mikel Merino do that for Arsenal, coming in as a false nine. I've seen him also do it for Spain earlier, but I don't know why they always put him on the bench. But then when he comes on, he does the damage. He does the damage. So he has done it in this World Cup, and then I want to see that game. I want to make sure on Tuesday, at least it's just one game, so it's not the one that somebody's watching game by 4 a.m. in the morning. Guy.
With grungy eyes, you have to come to the studio.
When after going through those, when you wake up in the morning, your day is already, something. But the finals and the semi-finals and the final, we are going to watch it. Next time, let Africa host, or let Europe. So
because at least you can do that. Normal time range.
But the Morocco, Egypt.
Well, I last week I did say that I was impressed with the Egyptians, and I think it also played out this particular last game that they did play. It was all about game management for me. I think that at the end of the day they could easily have won, but you have to give it to them, Morocco and Egypt, the way they started their stuff, and they did come out. Now they're having 19 million and 15 million. That says a lot about the possibilities, what possibilities the Nigerian team had that we practically threw away. Because I don't think that the Egyptians, if Nigeria being a competition team, we could easily have been in the quarterfinals. But if you don't buy the ticket, you can't win the lottery. So that's just what it is. So next time we get better prepared, because it doesn't mean the other teams that got to the latter stages of the World Cup, they are any better in terms of quality, in terms of player quality, in terms of the team quality. But if you don't do the needful, then you will not qualify to be on the table of men. at the end of the day, the Nigerian players, they have not shown they are men enough to qualify us for the World Cup, and that's why they are back to back, and that's why they are having to watch the games, you know, from staycations, vacations, whatever, and it's so unfortunate. It tells a lot about the story of what our administrators should do better. Yeah. So that in 2013 we don't have to come back to say.
I think probably the, how do I say it? In most climes, because we've seen this World Cup, we've seen managers, the moment their team go off,
they get sacked, or they themselves resign honorably.
Honorably, the day their team gets out, you know. In fact, Nagelsmann was saying he was going to continue, but before he traveled from America to Germany, nobody asked him. Before he put in that, and Jurgen Klopp, is finishing pen to take them right down there. We've seen the FA who have not qualified. Everybody, they
just resigned.
They don't resign. But we are back to back, and then we are still sitting. We are still talking about September for this same. It's
an indictment and more or less like an entrenchment of mediocrity, where the same set of people that failed in their immediate duties to qualify us not only for the World Cup, they have also not shown they are deliberate about genuine grassroots development. We are not seeing it. It's one thing to talk about the optics. You want to look good. You want to make everybody think you are doing the work. But the metrics are not counting for you. You should honorably just don't even bother competing.
We just played the FA Cup final yesterday.
And it was so annoying to see that we had to extend what is supposed to be, one of the most glamorous events. Especially that
most people weren't even aware that
most people were not aware. Trust me, if it were an event that was properly planned and maybe even came to Lagos. I'm even saying, okay, if you had brought it to Lagos, maybe the media would have helped better.
Yeah, exactly.
But where it was taken to, and also the fact that they were not deliberate about promoting the particular final, then we saw what it was. A lot of people are just getting to know that it was El Kanemi that
so it is a president cup that is not presidential.
It's not presidential in any way, and it's so unfortunate. It's not about the name, whether it's President Federation Cup, whether it's Federation Cup, whether it's the FA Cup, whatever it is. The most important thing is it's meant to be glamorous. It's meant to be one of the most important events on the calendar of the NFF.
Exactly.
Because it is the oldest. Yes. Is that baby. When we talk about the FA Cup, I think it's giving us most of the more gloried moments in terms of, okay, look at 85, 86, 87. When you talk about Moses Pako, you talk about the likes of Tony Angela, Leventis, Abiola Base,
we are not even promoting the players that we have now.
We are not promoting them.
2 million naira minimum wage.
Okay. Do we have time to talk about it? Because I don't even understand. I don't even understand the rationale, because you can't go from struggling to pay 150,000 naira to 2 million naira wage. But I have heard that there may be intervention from the NSC. The question would now be, if you are having intervention for football, what happens to the other 40+ sports across the federation?
That discussion. It is good.
It is good. It's not a problem. But there must be clarity, there must be transparency, there must be fairness, there must be probity,
we'll bring them here.
And it has to be done properly.
We'll bring them here. At least the club owners have been told how they are going to finance it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Because if I have my company and I'm running it, and you tell me you must pay your staff so. And then I think we had one of the officials talking on I saw it talking on I said, look, even if we've said it before that club licensing is key, but club licensing has to do with minimum of paying imposing 2 million. There are things that talk about club licensing, what of the stadium, what of the infrastructure,
player welfare, everything.
So basically those are the things. Especially the medicals, the other things that you want to do, the stage of the pitch.
So Ken, if I wanted to intervene as maybe the NSC chairman, the CEO, or whatever, the first things I want to know is, at this point in time, are we having any club or clubs owing player salaries from way back? Legacy debts must be cleared. Let's first understand that you cannot continue to run a league where you have players that are complaining about issues that are being treated by the arbitration.
The coming out. I mean, a lot of stories. We have see the World Cup. After the World Cup, we have enough time. We will devote so much time to looking at this, because, like you said, when they say bring in your balance sheet, bring in whatever it is,
Yeah.
it is income and expenditure.
Absolutely.
It's not expenditure and income.
Absolutely.
You must earn before you spend.
Absolutely.
They say, so your coat according to your cloth. Spend according to what, but you now said they should start spending first. They must pay 2 million.
And
anyway,
even if
like
you
we said, the magic behind that is, I'm happy. If they are able to sustain it, I'm happy.
So the question again would be, if you are intervening, what exactly have the clubs shown you as their own framework for marketability, for sustainability? If that is absent,
if they are spoon-feeding, do you ask for marketability?
No. Yeah, you can.
If you are spoon-feeding,
you can. You actually can. You can spoon-feed.
Yes.
While spoon-feeding, there must be a framework that shows that at the end of maybe 5 years, I'm not going to spoon-feed you any longer.
When in 79 they started this, the very go and check the framework, the very first one that they started. That's where the word professional cropped into the lexicon of Nigerian football.
Is it still there?
Each of these clubs will have their own stadium. Each we have it. That is, as at 1979, we are talking 2026. How many of them have it?
It's a sad commentary.
Anyway, so it's all there. Let's talk Wimbledon, Mukova when she sent in. Look, I was looking at Jessica Pegula. I was looking at Coco Golf. What I mean.
Whether it was Noskova or Muchova, something had to be over.
Okay.
But I'm happy that we had two friends go all out there, give us one of the all-time greats in terms of
the ex-friend. She said Mukova is accepting her loss. He said, I want to start by thanking my ex-friend. But what had that sense of humor at that point in time?
Absolutely. When they got on the court, it was not about friendship any longer. It was about who needed it most.
But after that,
you have to give it to Noskova. Also Muchova. It was the resilience was so, the intensity, the courage.
We're on our home stretch.
Yeah.
Sinas, Zverev, where do you go?
I know Zverev will be, happy on the momentum.
But
it's always difficult to have someone from clay to grass win, and I expect Sina. Sina is just ruthless.
All of them they all came from the same team. They all came from. Look, what they Bergdon.
Yeah.
About 5-6 times he moved from French Open to.
There are only few exceptions.
He is. He wants to be
the fourth man. Very much to be.
All right.
So always a pleasure to be here, Ken.
All right. Like we said, it is 7 days, not 7 days to Christmas, please. It is 7 days to the World Cup final. And I tell you, by the time we come back on Sunday, the phones must work. Until then, I'm Ken Ochonogo. God bless Nigeria.